Today we are going to be talking about Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, more specifically about the Druid. Yes, one of the more interesting classes in the game. What can I say about them? Well, they're tree huggers, they're nature lovers. I mean, these guys are all about nature. They're basically your sabotagers. They're all about screwing up your opponent. They have a little bit of spell casting that has to do with enhancing your abilities, but more of it is actually with messing with your opponent. Not necessarily damaging, although they do have some damaging spells. They're really more about just messing with them and giving them downsides and all sorts of stuff like that. They're not so much a support like the cleric. They're more of a they're sabotage. That's really what they do. They have all sorts of crazy stuff. There's a lot of different ways to do them. I mean, they have animal companions. Basically, it's kind of like a little bit like a second character. It's not as good, but it levels up with them and at a pretty good rate. They're not the only class that gets them. The Rangers get it as well, although the Rangers are only half as good as the Druid by design. It's actually set up that Rangers actually literally it's half. But anyways, yeah, they get spell casting, and their spell casting is fairly powerful. I'd say it's a little bit more powerful than the clerics, all in all, but the cleric does have some advantages that the druid doesn't have. The cleric has armor capabilities, which that's great. All divine casters can cast spells in armor. The thing with druids, though, is because of their nature, they're not allowed to have metal armor, which is kind of a problem because all the best armor is metal. Not only that, druids are only proficient with light armor, so that can be an issue. In order for them to be able to use the best armor, they'd have to take a couple of feats, and they'd have to get the right armor. So it's a trick. It's a trick trying to get a druid in the best armor so that their defense will be as good as other classes. So that kind of sucks. Their AC is not as good as some of the other classes, but their offense is actually really good. It's got a 15 base attack eventually by 20th level, which is okay. It's actually kind of standard. Most classes have that. There's a few that have worse, but still it's not that bad. They have a decent number of weapon proficiencies, actually a little bit more than the cleric does, I think. Not for sure on that, but they do get a pretty decent number of them. And their alignment restrictions are a little bit more. They have to be kind of neutral, so that kind of sucks. But they're a good class. It's one of my more favorite classes. Actually, my favorite character is half fighter, half druid. So I've mentioned that in a couple other videos, but yeah, it's a good class. They have almost all the empowering spells. Not all of them, like the cleric and the wizard and the sorcerer, they all have all of them. The druid doesn't have Eagle Splendor or Fox's Cunning. That's it. But yeah, it doesn't. They don't get those spells, but they get all the other ones. They just, which yeah, they don't really need it, but they're great characters. Not just their animal companions, they also get wild shape, which is kind of cool. They can turn into animals, which can come in very handy, being able to turn into whatever animal you want. And with some epic feats, well, not whatever, there's restrictions, but with epic feats it kind of blows most of the restrictions out of the water. With the right epic feats you can turn into anything between from a fly to a great worm gold dragon. I mean, yeah, that's pretty wide range there. But yeah, there's just so much you can do with them. Their healing isn't quite as good as the clerics, but it's pretty close. They don't get healing spells at second level, and their third level spells and on are actually one level lower. So first level spells are just as good as the clerics, actually a little better because Goodberry is pretty useful. But beyond first level spells, they take a little bit of a dip, with not getting any healing spells at second level, and all their spells from there on being one level lower, effective to the cleric, like Cure Moderate Wounds for a cleric is a second level spell. That's a third level druid spell. So it kind of continues on that way. But it's a good class with the animal. Like I say, they get animal companions. They get a pretty decent base attack bonus. They can cast spells with armor because it's divine casting. They know all the druid spells. They don't have to learn them, but they do still have to prepare them every day. Um, they're just kind of a good class all in all. They get a good number of spells as well, spells per day. So yeah, it's a good class. It's a good supplement. You wouldn't want both a cleric and a druid in the party. They kind of clash a little bit unless it was a really large party. Although I guess you could make anything work. But it would be a bit of a challenge making a working party with both. You need one or the other. And yeah, they just have different options. If you have anything you want to add or say or anything, put a comment there. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. Yeah. Anyways, this is Mitch. I'll be seeing you.